Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here, and today we have another Force of Will deck profile video. This time it's going to be something that I haven't actually really changed much since Moonlit Savior came out, because I wasn't quite sure what I could possibly include into it. I might eventually do some changes or whatever, but right now this is the current build that I have of it right now. It does play decently or whatever. I mean, it's not absolutely perfect. There are a couple of flaws with it, mainly to do with kind of like spell support or whatever, and perhaps it's a little bit slow to start off, but it has, like, when it gets going, it really does do quite well. Maybe not perfectly, but I mean, if you're playing something that is totally perfect, you know, then where's the fun in that? You might win a lot, but it's like, where's the challenge? So the main idea of this is that it's going to be like a Knights of the Round Table deck, but instead of maybe using Valentina or Sylvia or whatever, we're going to be using an older ruler, which is Pandora / Grimmia, because I totally adore their art and the kind of abilities that they have. So obviously our ruler here is Pandora, the Weaver of Myth. They J-activate depending on how much life you have, so if, like, it gets less and less the less life you have. We do have a couple of instances in this deck where we can gain life, but most of the time we're going to wait until we can either flip Pandora for nothing, or we flip her very cheaply. And when we flip her over, if I can pull the card out the sleeve there to show you, we get Grimmia, the Saviour of Myth, who looks totally awesome. And he's actually one of my favourite rulers from the Grimm cluster. I prefer him more than actual Grimm. Like, he's kind of like a gimmicky card for fairy tale decks, whatever. And, you know, he's like the tree where he doesn't flip over or whatever. So you're kind of losing out on a J ruler if you're doing that. But, like, with the tree, you don't really need to flip over because you've got Alice. But with this one, whenever he attacks, you can search your deck for a weapon, which is a J/Resonator weapon, and you can add it to this card, then shuffle your main deck. Now, what happens with this is, what I've been told is, before the attack is actually dealt, you search for the addition and you attach it. So technically speaking, you're not attacking and then getting the addition. It's when the attack is declared, you get the weapon, attach it, and then you proceed to attack. It's like, I think it's more to do with the wording of it. It's not like after it attacks, it's just whenever this card attacks. So you can still deal, like, the damage that you're getting additionally from the chosen addition that we've got in this deck. Also, if we activate to pay 1 light, we can gain swiftness and target attack to the end of the turn. Also, if we pay 2 light, we can banish an addition added to this card and rest up to 2 target Resonators. Most of the time when I do this, I don't actually do the thing to banish the addition, mainly because the addition is really good. But otherwise, we're mainly going to be doing it for either getting swiftness, if we can't get swiftness ourselves, because maybe someone's running a death scythe or something like that, or, you know, we're going to try and get target attack for that turn. Most of the time, I do end up actually flipping Grimmia, more times than not, mainly because he's such a good kind of end game to try and, like, clear up the end of the field and try and scoop it. So, going on to our Resonators, we've only got, like, one drop for this deck, and it's Perceval, who is, like, one of my favourite knights. I mean, some people prefer her older art rather than her new art, but I kind of like her new art. She looks kind of cute. She's only 200, but what happens is, when she enters, we can reveal the top 5 cards of our deck. We can choose either a Regalia or a Knight of the Round Table from among them and put them into our hand, and the rest go to the bottom of the deck. Her other ability is we can banish her and prevent all damage that would target our J-Ruler or a Knight of the Round Table until the end of the turn. Mainly, we're using her to draw in more Knights or get some Regalia on the field, mainly because there's quite a couple of Regalia that we have, mainly to try and support Grimmia when he comes out, and also because we're going to be running a couple of Rulers' Memorias for, like, reasons I'll explain in a wee bit. Moving on to 2 drops now. I'm running 2 Hector, mainly because I want a little bit of support for Lancelot. I am considering maybe taking Hector out and replacing her with maybe one of the new knights that we got in Moonlit Savior. Well, not new knights, because I think they're reprints, but one of the other knights. I'm not too sure yet. I'm still thinking about it, because I still quite like her thing where it's like, oh, you can pay 1 fire less if you were to control Lancelot, and when she enters, she can give 400 attack to someone to the end of the turn, which, you know, is quite handy or whatever, especially if, like, you're trying to swing in for that turn with the other thing. Plus, you know, she's still a blocker or whatever, so I'm still contemplating it. As I said, I'm thinking about it, not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. The other 2 drop that we have is one of my actual favourite ones, is we have Galahad, Son of the God. son of the god, the one and only god. So he's a 2-drop, he's 400, 400, kind of like Hector. But what happens with him is whenever he attacks, I gain 500 life. And whenever this card is put into the graveyard from our field, you can rest a target Resonator your opponent controls. So he's like the main area where we're going to be absorbing life or whatever. So early game, I like to try and protect him as best as I can, because it's really nice to like get additional life at the start, so it kind of gives you a little bit of a head start over your opponent. There is an addition where I contemplate me attaching it to him, mainly because I want to get like that life ramp as much as I can, just to kind of like save us a bit. Like, if it's not possible, then, you know, I know that I'm probably going to have to flip Grimmia instead. But most of the time, I do like to use him because it gives us a little bit of extra time to try and set up by protecting our life. The other 2-drop that we've got, running 3 of Gawain, the Knight of the Sun. He is a 300-700, which is he's mainly used for blocking. But what he does is other Knight of the Round Table Resonators get plus 200-200, and whenever this card attacks or blocks, we rest a target Resonator. So he's mainly going to be used for blocking. We're actually probably never going to swing with him because he's only got 300 attack. And 700 defense for a 2-drop is actually pretty decent, so most early stuff can't swing into it like for that much, unless it's like a buffed up Lancelot or something like that. But most of the time, we're probably going to use him to block and rest our opponent's Resonators who are still on the attack. And as I said, the other 2-drop that we have is 3 Lancelots. In this whole deck, there's only 2 instances of using like fire, which is Hector and Lancelot. So the reason why I'm thinking about maybe dropping the Hector is so I don't need to run so much like fire support, so I can just make it mainly white. But, you know, I'm still considering it because Lancelot is probably one of the best knights. It's just so viable, you know, it's 600 with swiftness. It can like buff itself with each fire we pay, and obviously if we get to like 1000 attack, we can deal 700 damage to Resonator when we attack. It's just such a good card. Like I contemplated maybe not putting it in this deck because it's like, oh, I can't put Lancelot in every single deck that I do. I've only put it on the Sylvia deck, but I thought, you know what, if it's a Knight of the Round Table deck, it badly needs a Lancelot. So I'm only running it as 3, mainly because I don't want to rely too heavily on it, but it is a really nice card to run in the meantime. Moving on to some of our bigger drops, we're running 3 of Bedivere, the Restorer of Souls. He's actually quite a nice one from the first set of the Alice cluster. He's a 700-700 and he comes with target attack. And when he enters the field, we can remove a target Resonator with 1000 or more attack from the game, which is really nice if like we see an opponent, they've got something really big and we pretty much can't touch it. We can just play this and we're like, yeah, you need to get rid of that now. Which, other than that, it's nice because it's got target attack. And 700-700 for a 3 cost is not too bad. Mainly, we're going to be like trying to use some of our bigger stuff to like clear out the game, and the little stuff is mainly going to be for defending and for trying to gain life. And last but not least, we have 2 Arthurs, the new Arthurs. I was contemplating running this as 3, but then I thought I am really unlikely to get enough turn or enough will to be able to play 3 Arthurs. That would be a bit ridiculous. So I kind of cut it down to 2. He is really awesome, and I absolutely love his artwork. He's a 12-12, and this card cannot be targeted by fire or darkness spells or abilities, which is, that protection from fire and darkness, because it's like 2 of the most common decks played. Also, Resonators your opponent controls have to attack this card if able, and then we can rest him, and the target Resonator gains plus 800 until end of the turn. Well, 800 defense anyway. So he's kind of good for like a good wall at least. Like I know a lot of people running Shion. They either run, like, maybe, say, the Celestial Wing Seraph, or they'll run Arthur, like, in terms of, like, the big drop that you just want to get down. I see, like, Seraph having a bit more versatility over Arthur. I can see why you would pick Arthur, because he's just, like, a wall, and it's like, yeah, you need to deal with him before you can actually hurt me. In terms of spells that we're running, it's really not that many spells, I think. It's just like, that's where I'm like not sure what to do with this deck, is the spell support. I have been thinking of a couple of things, but I'm not too sure. This is what I'm currently running with now, and it's okay. It could be better, which is why I love to hear your suggestions of how you would maybe change it up a little bit. So the spells that we're running is we have 2 of Invigoration of the Wind Lord. This is kind of helpful because we're running a lot of light Resonators. Pretty much only 2 of them are not light, so that's why it's very handy. And the other one it does is that Resonators you control gain flying until the end of the turn. And at the end of this turn, you can recover all the Resonators you control. So if we have amassed like an army of knights, we can just, boom, give them all flying, and we're going to fly over at the end for the end of the turn. And then we can recover all the Resonators. Or we can look at the top 4 cards of our main deck, and we can put a light Resonator with total cost 4 or less from among them into our field. So we can easily get out a Bedivere, or we can, if we want, we can get out Gawain, or we can get out Galahad. But mainly we would like to get Bedivere, if we're actually going to use that. And another spell that we've got is we have Order of the Sacred Queen, running it at 2 again. That's why I'm kind of running some of these spells at 2, because I'm not quite sure whether they're staying or not. I quite like this one because it's just rest the target Resonator, and all your Resonators gain 400 till the end of the turn. So it's quite nice to run if we've amassed a little army and our opponent hasn't been able to pick them off through whatever means, they're not strong enough, or we've kind of defended them or whatever, or if we just chose not to block or anything like that. We can just go in, swing, and give everyone 400, which is pretty nice. You can see why I'm still contemplating changing things in this deck, where it's half the time it can run pretty well, it can swing in my favour, but there's been instances where it's just been totally in denial that it's not going my way. I think you could probably tell that from the match that I ran when I ran this deck. Just some things were not going my way at all. But in terms of another spell, not spell, additions are considered spells, I guess. So they are technically spells, but they're additions. We're running 2 Seal of Grimmia. This is a 1-drop, which is really kind of handy, where it's our opponent drops something that we really don't like, and that it can hurt us a lot, or they gain a lot from attacking with it. We can just say cool, you're not attacking with this until you get rid of this addition. So this is mainly our get out of jail free card, where it's we see something, we don't like it attacking us, and we're just cool, you're not going to attack us anymore. So get away with that. And another addition that we're running, which is something that I really like, is the Longinus, the Holy Lance. It is just so good. What it does is added Resonator gets 500 and cannot be targeted by darkness spells or darkness cards abilities, and prevent all damage that would be dealt to it by darkness cards. So basically this deck is just yeah, darkness cards can get out, because we don't like dark decks. I like to attach this to either Galahad or even to Arthur, just to boost them up. Mainly attaching it to Galahad is actually pretty nice, because it means that we can safely swing in and always get that plus 500 life whenever we attack, because then he'll be at 900. Other than that, you could possibly just give it to Lancelot as well, so that they'll always be at 1000, and we will always get that 700 damage off by swinging in, which would be pretty nice. So that's another addition I like. And in terms of the weapon, the addition that's the J Resonator one, obviously we're going to go with Ragnarok, which is probably the best one, I think, out of all the additions that can be equipped to J rulers. What it does is it gives the added J Resonator 500, so similar to the Lance. But the other ability it has is if Resonator dealt damage by added J/Resonator would be put into the graveyard this turn, you remove that Resonator from the game and you gain life equal to its defense, which is really nice, because considering that whenever Grimmia attacks, we can search this thing out, so we could potentially just search this out twice. I only run 2 of it because I feel it would be a little bit too OP to run 4 of it, because then we'd be insane. It would be pretty cool if we ran 4 of it and attached them all to Grimmia and just be yeah, you are not touching Grimmia at all. I might possibly do that, just maybe remove the Seal of Grimmia and just put in the other 2 Ragnaroks just to see how that goes. It would be pretty silly. But you never know. I might do that, but I quite like the artwork for this card. The sword looks totally amazing. It's one of my favourite combos to run with this deck. Next, going into Regalia, which is probably one of the slots that take up the most in this deck, we have, obviously, running with Regalia, we have bows. I know that I said that most of the time these bows, they're only really good when running it with Arla, because we definitely get 4 counters on each one. But I quite like it, mainly because we can use it to, pop the smaller things near the start of the game. And obviously, we can't really, gain access to the last ability, because we will never have 4 counters on each one. But, it's pretty handy for dealing 400 damage. And if we had all 4 of them out, and we took a counter off of all of them, that would be still a pretty substantial damage in the long run. I also randomly run one Death Scythe and one Leviathan. I can never pronounce that right. Leviathan. The Death Scythe is mainly to deal with rulers who come with swiftness and imperishable. So you're going to look at stuff like Dark Alice. You're going to look at stuff like I suppose Sylvia as well, technically, because she has swiftness. And this Leviathan is mainly to give us swiftness. In the off chance that we somehow come across, say, a Dark Alice, and they remove our ability to gain swiftness due to their own Death Scythe, or even they're running Resonators or something else with the Death Scythe, then no worries, we don't need to bother using this for swiftness, but we can use it for tapping to do 200 damage. Like, unless the only other instance I would think is if they're running Gil Lapis or Barrier Shadows and making us cost 1 to tap stuff, which would be pretty sucky. The other Regalia we have 3 Mirabelles. I still love running Mirabelles. I know it's maybe lost a bit of its like appeal since like all the new stuff has came out, but I still like it. Like, you know, the only downside I would say with this deck is since it's got such a Regalia heavy focus, it probably wouldn't do too well against like a Gil Lapis deck where like we need to tap for all our Regalia. But other than that, I think it is okay. Like, it's maybe not the best deck I've built, but it's something a little bit different, trying to pick with a theme. You know, I like to work with themes. Oh, and the last Regalia we have Excalibur, the God Sword, which we're usually mainly for target attack and tapping to give 200 to our J ruler. So those are the main deck in particular. But in terms of stones, we have Little Red the Pure Stone. Basically, you know, if this is mainly for the 200 that it gives to one of our Resonators, and you know, if we're stuck with not getting a red source, we can declare it as red, but most of the time I just could declare it as yellow, and to get that like that light will cost. We also have 4 normal light stones, mainly because the majority of this deck, as I said, is light. We only have like 4 instances. 4 instances? Yeah, we have... No, actually 5. We have 5 instances of fire in this deck. So mainly we're going to be running with light stuff. So that's why we've got the light stones. I also have 2 jewel stones of Heat Ray. I would prefer to have a playset of them, but I sadly don't own a playset, which is like the problem with me, is that I want to run all these jewel stones for a couple of jewel color decks, but I don't have the jewel stones in particular, because I did a bit of trading and whatnot, and then I realised, oh damn, I need them back, and I couldn't get them back, quite sadly. So I'm only running 2. I think if I would be able to get a playset of 4, I would run 4 of these instead of the Ruler's Regalia that I have, because then I'd definitely have like my fire sorted for Lancelot and Hector. And as I said, we have 3 Ruler's Memoria, mainly to fix that fire where we need it, but probably I would get rid of this if I managed to get the other Heat Rays, and I would probably replace it with just light stones again. So all in all, guys, that's it for this list for the Knight of the Round Table deck that I built based on Pandora / Grimmia. I know it's not maybe the best deck that's out there, but I was trying to maybe work around a theme, because I kind of like the idea of just like a total Knight of the Round Table deck that wasn't maybe Valentina or Sylvia, or even Reflect, because I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to use Reflect. Like, I do have like a list with Reflect, but it's really not that good, because it's like, I was trying to be so obscure with the theme around it. I was like, yeah, this isn't totally amazing, but let me guys know what you would change in the deck, or any suggestions you would have for fixing up a Knight of the Round Table deck. Should I probably drop Hector? I feel like I should probably drop Hector and stick in some other things, but let me know guys what you thought of it, and until next time guys, I will see you all later.